Hey, Joe, thank you for joining us, man. I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking with us. I wanted to ask you a question, not to look too far ahead, but Saturday is Senior Day, but in this unique year, seniors do have the option of returning if they choose to. Is that a conversation you guys have had amongst each other about what to do? And in your particular case, do you know what you're going to do, and what kind of factor in you trying to decide whether you come back or go on?
To be like you kind of already answered your own question. I'm not really looking forward to anything as opposed to I get through the season. My number one priority is finishing the season out strong with the team and getting our eighth conference win and setting a record for the school, leaving a legacy in this program. But after that, then that's when I'm going to start having the conversation with family and coaches and start figure stuff out. But until after the season's officially over, I'm going to hold off until that moment.
And so, would this possibly being your last Senior Day, what are you looking forward to about running out the tunnel that one last time, possibly, or playing your last home game, possibly, at Carter Finley Stadium?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward for the chances to play in the Carter Finley one last time, especially with the season we've had and kind of putting a good ending to a story we've written for 2020, the year of playing football with the middle of a pandemic. I think it's something that I'm going to be talking about probably for the rest of my life, telling my kids, grandkids all about that. And hopefully I can just end it off with a sweet victory and getting to enjoy it with my teammates.
Mark Armstrong.
Dave said yesterday that if you'd told him between the pandemic and all the injuries you guys have suffered that you would win the amount of games you have already this year, he would have laughed at you. Do you guys as players feel the same way, or are you at all surprised at the success the team has
had? I think winning football games is really hard. And I think people always kind of take look at people's records and kind of take everything based off of that, especially in the level we play in the ACC and Power 5 conference. And you kind of see it across college. Anything could happen. Winning games, a team could be undefeated and lose a game to someone that hasn't won a game yet. It's just how the game's played. Sometimes the best way to figure out if you're going to have a good season is just putting the ball down and playing the game in the first place. I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I don't think anyone should be surprised by success. I think it should be something you expect out of yourselves. But during, like I said, it's crazy times having to deal with the pandemic and having to deal with injuries, as kind of Coach Doran kind of put out. It's kind of an interesting situation, and being able to tackle that and being able to play as well as we did, I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of my fellow teammates to put together the season that we do have so far. But I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I would just say it's more of a expectation we set for ourselves and kind of the standard around here in the building.
Well, that might be the answer to my follow-up, because there are some teams nationally that big things were expected and they've absolutely nosedived. What is it about your team that you guys came together and are succeeding under the circumstances?
Well, under the circumstances, I think people kind of had one or two options: is kind of put everything on hold and be like, you know what, I don't even think we're gonna have a season. Might as well enjoy my time off and not really get prepared. Or, I'm not sure. I'm referring back to middle of summer and off season, especially early spring, where everything was so questionable. Or teams like us where we say, you know what, we don't know if we're gonna play, we don't know if we're gonna have a season, but we're gonna prepare like we have one. And we're going to do everything that we would normally do in a situation, provided with our context, be able to get the work in and get the preparation in. So when if the ball does get put down, which it did happening, to be prepared and prepare ourselves for any situation. And that I think is kind of why you're seeing the success we're having, because we prepared in the offseason like we were going to have a season, even though some people didn't.
Gibby.
Yeah, Joe, a chance to get that 8th win on Saturday. You get that 8th win. That's going to set you guys up for a really good bowl. Is that important for you guys to play a marquee team, a good bowl, especially after the season you guys had last year? How cool would that be to don't know who you're going to play yet, but to get yourself into a really good bowl? How cool would that be for this team?
That's bowl games is what every college team wants. They want to be able to play in the postseason and get a chance to get a bowl ring and take the team out and play another team that you probably wouldn't get a chance to play against some really good competition, really solidify your spot within a position of dominance in college football. But for us, I think the big thing for us is just coming back from the season we had last year and putting out having more wins than we did last year, and really showing everybody that put us down and out in the preseason, showing them that, you know what, we're a legitimate football team. We might have had a bad season last year, but that's not who we are as a program. That's not who we are as a team. It's really solidifying ourselves as a dominant program within Power Five football.
I was kind of surprised to hear from Bailey, and Coach admitted this too, that you guys have not been shy about talking about a bowl ever since you got that 6th win. You know, everybody thinks it's the next game, but you guys haven't been shy about talking about getting to a bowl. I mean, is that why is that?
Well, I think for me, I've been here since 2016, and the one time we didn't go to a bowl game was last year, and that's not something you want in your career, and that's not something you want in your program. So going from not having the opportunity to go to a bowl game and then earning that opportunity again this year is something, it's an accomplishment to be proud of at the very least. It's not an easy thing to do. Winning's not easy. I kind of mentioned that before, and especially getting enough wins to play in the postseason of college football is not an easy task at all. So, it's something to be proud of. But again, I would like to say, like, our focus, we're not even thinking about bowl games right now. We're really thinking about Georgia Tech as our next one. But you are right about that. But it is nice to be able to hang your hat on an accomplishment and say, you know what, we did earn postseason play and getting a chance to go to a bowl game, especially during all this crazy times with COVID-19 especially.
David.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for the time this afternoon. I am curious. I know you said you're not going to make any, you haven't made any decisions yet, but could the results of the next 2 games, whether they be wins or losses, do you feel like that's going to factor into that decision?
Are you referring to, so if you're saying if we win both games or lose both?
Or lose both games. Yeah. Will that factor into whether you return next year?
I don't think that has as much as a factor as I return next year at all. I think we're going out here. We're trying to win. We're trying to get to the next 2 wins, the next win. In terms of what happens for me in my future career for football, that's more of a personal decision. That doesn't really have much to do with the team itself. But that's just a decision that's going to be made after the season.
Corey Smith.
Joe, when you look at this Georgia Tech team, obviously it's a team that has struggled throughout the season, but has played well over the last couple of weeks. What do you see defensively from them that you're going to have to match up with?
They have some good talent. Like you said, they did have some off time, not off time, in reference to not playing any games. I'm sure they were practicing and getting prepared. But they are explosive. They had an explosive offense, I thought, and I thought their defense is really, really good. I don't think their record exactly showcases the talent that they do have on defense. This is obviously in the first early days of game planning Georgia Tech, looking at their defensive line especially. I think they do have a lot of talent on the defensive line. I think they have a lot of talent in the linebacker core. I think they have talent in the secondary. I think we're going to try and do some things to get after them and put up some points on them quick and kind of change things that happened last year so that we do end up coming with a W. But like I kind of said, but just more specifically, I think their defense has a good run. They have a good run defense. I think they have some pretty good pass rushers on the edge and in the interior games. They do have some nice blitzes that are hard to identify and point out, but I think we're dialing them up pretty good so we can give ourselves the best opportunity to beat them this Saturday.
And when it comes to senior day this Saturday, is there anything different for the players that are going through it? Because obviously, things like, with COVID-19 pandemic still going on, is there anything different as far as family being able to attend? How many people can be out there on the field with you?
I'm actually not too positive on how that's going to get shaped out this year for COVID-wise and how many people are going to be allowed on the field. I imagine, and Annabelle, if you do know anything, please chime in. I imagine that we're allowed to have our parents out on the field at the very least to greet us out there for our last time running out on the Carter Finley. But I'm not too sure. I know one thing, it's going to be a little less crowded in the stadium just because, regulations and stuff. But in terms of that, I'm not exactly 100% sure. I do know our parents are going to have the opportunity to come out on the field, but if we can have more, I'm not too sure. But unfortunately, my rest of my family is kind of spread out through the country right now doing their own thing. So it'd be kind of hard to get more than them just to come in. But I'm actually looking forward to having them step out on the field with me for one last time and show off the people that love me and care for me.
Jonas.
Hey, Joe, I wanted to ask you about one of your teammates who I'm sure you've lined up across from in practice plenty of times throughout your career, but Aleem McNeil is getting a lot of credit for his play this year, even though his numbers aren't always high from that position, which, they're not going to be, but he still does his job. What's it like practicing against that guy, and what does he do so well in that nose tackle position?
I think you kind of highlighted a big point is playing nose tackle, especially in an odd stack defense that we do have. It's not a glorious position in terms of getting high amount of tackles, high amount of sacks, high amount of hits or rushes or hurries on the quarterback. It is a position that is designed to eat up blockers and let the linebackers cover and flow and make plays. I think he does that extraordinarily well. I think he takes a lot, and this is just coming from experience playing him. He requires a lot of attention on the offensive line. Design-wise, you're going to want to put more than one blocker up on him because he has been known to beat one-on-one blocks, and you see that in his gameplay. If you do leave him solo up on an offensive lineman solo up on him, he speeds and makes a tackle on the line of scrimmage, and so that requires a lot more attention. When you put two, maybe even I've seen teams triple team Aleem, it frees up linebackers to go and make plays and gives them opportunities to shut down other teams' offenses very well. I think he does that. I think he does a very good job at requiring a lot more attention, and if that attention is not given, he takes the opportunity to make a play solo.
What's the aside from the pick six he had at Virginia, what's the most athletic thing you've ever seen him do for a guy his size?
I once saw Aleem eat 30 chicken wings by himself. That was pretty athletic. No, I'm just kidding. Aleem's an athlete, man. He's not a common dude. He's strong. He's fast. Weight room wise, I've seen him put near 600 pounds on his back. I think even more. Bench 400 pounds, and then go out and run sprints faster than most linemen. He's an athlete. He's a quick dude. The pick six was pretty athletic, although I thought he was pretty slow off the interception. But that's just my personal opinion on the whole thing. He's an athletic guy. I'm not saying I ever seen him do triple backflips or nothing off the sidewalk, but he's an athletic dude for his size. He's able to move very well for that, and very, very quick laterally as well.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Did he eat 30 wings? Seriously?
I didn't see. No, I haven't seen him, but I'm sure he could put them down if he wanted to.
Okay. I wanted to know that too. Actually, I was curious if that was true or not.
I'm sure he could do. I'm sure he could do that just as easily.
All right, 2 more questions. Schnicker.
Joe, you've been in this program playing for Coach Doran for a while. There's been some talk among NC State fans that this may be his best coaching job this year. What, with everything he's had to guide you through and the changes and what you guys went through last year, what has his leadership meant for the season that you guys have had, and what has he done to inspire you guys this year?
I think college football, especially being a head coach position, is a odd position. You either adapt or you die. The programs across the country, they're going to change to get better, and if you don't stay on top of that, you're gonna fall behind the curve. Obviously, with the last year's performance, we had to change something, and with that, Coach Doran, we had a great offseason opportunity in the winter time to bring in something called the program, where they brought leaderships in from experienced personnel from various branches of the military, especially the Marines, the Marine Corps. And they brought us in, and they taught us how to lead through various drills and situations. We did so much stuff. I'm not going to get into all that stuff, but they really did bring in guys to give us off-season leadership. It really brought us closer as a speaking from a player perspective, and even as a coach and from a coach and players relationship. I thought he did that very well. And then bringing in great coaching hires to give us the best opportunity scheme-wise to go out and win some games. I hope that answered your question the best, but that's, I think, was the biggest thing that I saw from this offseason that I have in the past. He's always trying to adapt and change his offseason approach so that, he gives us the best opportunity to win in the upcoming season.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question for Joe from Casey.
Well, Joe, that was going to be my question as well. So we'll go with how many wings can you eat? No, I'm just kidding. So actually just, I guess to bounce a little bit off that, since you have been here for so long, just, you said that Coach Dorn has been able to adapt, but in this, 4 or 5 years that you've known him, how have you seen him progress as far as coaching wise, just from a player's perspective?
It's a really good question. But to answer, I think the hardest part of that question is depending on the last time I ate. And if I haven't eaten all day, I could probably put down 40 wings, easy. But that's what it also depends on the size of the wings. Sometimes like Buffalo Wild Wings, they're kind of hit or miss on the amount of meat on their wings. But definitely I can do 30, I would say, on any day. But to seriously answer your question, I think Coach Dorn has. I think coaching's a weird thing, and I'm gonna answer this from a player's perspective because throughout your lifetime as a player, you get access to a lot of different coaches, right? And you take little tidbits from them and insert it into your game to give you the best performance. And I think coaching is a similar process. In the offseason, Coach Dorn, he goes to NFL camps. He goes to, I think he went down to MARSOC, watched them this year, and he kind of mentioned that, and just trying to see how they lead from different fields, whether it be military or other football teams, and taking that and how he can apply that to his coaching style. And kind of repeat what we said. We brought in a group called the Program, and not only did they work with us as players, I know they worked with them as coach. I'm not really sure what they did with the coaches separately from us, but he was able to take that learning opportunity and pass it down to us, and giving us as players, especially players in leadership roles, opportunities to just take the reins a little bit more, and giving us a little bit more control of the team and letting us lead by example. And kind of almost, I don't want to say he stepped back, but he gave us more power, which then allowed us to rise as a team, if that makes any sense. But to give us more control over our team and letting us lead, but with the expectation just as high as he left it. So I think Coach Dorn does a great job. I think he's grown throughout from 2016 and now. I think he's always pursued change and always accepted change and always pursued the next best opportunity for our team. Mm-hmm.